While we were on this excursion, we made a stop in the suburbs of Georgia, close to Albany. The presence of feral pigs has caused significant damage to this region. Right away, we began making plans for our action. Complete equipment was brought by us. The objective was to cover the entire region, with a particular focus on the fields that were adjacent to the forest to the south of Albany. "What's up, buddy? What are you up to?" The clock had just struck 9 o'clock, and we were standing in a vast field next to the river basin forest at that very moment. After only a few minutes of scanning with the infrared scope, we were able to locate the initial targets that were creating a disturbance in the ground. Quickly, we positioned ourselves in an ambush, holding our breath as we waited for the moment to present itself. They promptly launched an assault as soon as the herd got closer. Already the wild boar had been killed, and this was just the beginning of the process. There were a few nearby targets that were terrified and swiftly ran away. On the other hand, my acquaintance was already laid out in ambush in front of me. Just a few seconds later, the adversary was defeated. At approximately 10 o'clock in the evening, a sound that was recognizable emanated from the bushes that were located close to the forest's boundary. We watched and followed them. The targets that we were looking for were exactly what we found. A series of gunshots ripped through the night as the leader was just about to march into the wide space. The group had split into two groups and was surrounded on both sides. The wild boar was quickly put down by the authorities. The one who was left fled into the bushes, but they were unable to protect themselves from the precision shots that were being fired by the other members of the squad. The darkness of the night increased, and an increasing number of pigs appeared. Can you see it? It seemed to be a pig that was in charge. It had a very huge and ferocious appearance. This was the moment in time. An end-of-the-game shot was fired. Wild boars are known to fall to the ground. The small wild boar that was located nearby was also eradicated as swiftly as possible since, in the event that it managed to escape, it would pose a risk to the humans in the future. As we were setting up an ambush next to a grassy area at approximately 1 in the morning, we were surrounded by the sound of wild boars digging in the earth immediately next to our ears. At a distance of approximately 40 meters, and after only a few seconds of shooting, I was able to successfully take down the enormous wild boar by delivering a headshot that was flawless headshot. The hunt went on as usual. We made an effort to locate the wild boars that were running away. However, despite the fact that their speed was extremely rapid, I still managed to grasp the opportunity and eliminate a couple more targets. On account of the fact that wild boars always look to be feeding at night, hunting them in this area did not appear to be difficult. With the passage of time, there was a progressive increase in the number of wild boars. We fought with unrelenting vigor, resolute in our mission to eliminate this group of ruthless destroyers. At this point, the remaining pigs dispersed in a state of fear, searching for a means to get away from the situation. On the other hand, they were unable to avoid our onslaught of gunfire. The number of wild pigs had substantially dropped as the sky was getting closer and closer to morning. There was a steady stream of gunfire that continued to reverberate throughout the peaceful space of the night, and suddenly, each wild pig dropped down in a hurry. Despite the fact that we were determined to eliminate as many targets as possible, we searched everywhere. At approximately 4 in the morning, we were also gradually becoming fatigued, and in light of the fantastic outcomes that had occurred yesterday, the group made the decision to end the hunting expedition here. To the time of our arrival in Signali, which was in the early winter, the mountains and forests were blanketed in a heavy blanket of snow. An infestation of wild boars was something that the locals had warned about. Their rate of reproduction was rapid, and they inflicted unending havoc. A hunt was planned by the local hunters group in order to decrease the number of wild boars and to ensure the safety of the people. As we joined the party, we were prepared for the journey, armed with hunting firearms and accompanied by hunting dogs with years of valuable knowledge. It came as quite a surprise to us that we were able to locate our goal so fast after following the snow-covered trail. A shot was fired from the gun. An instantaneous collapse occurred in the leader of a herd. Despite the fact that the pigs started to freak out and flee, we did not allow that to happen. Immediately after aiming the scope at the target, we pulled the trigger without any additional hesitation. There were 3 more wild boars that were put down after a sharp shot was fired. The ones that were left ran in the direction of the slope. In order to pursue, we divided into groups and traversed the slippery, snowy hills that were slippery. Because of the heavy snow, our speed was substantially slowed down. The herd of boars had already made their way to the opposite side of the hill at this point in time. As we had no other option, we made the decision to launch an assault from a distance. At a distance of 400 meters, the entire group concentrated, firmly grasped their firearms, and began firing their weapons. Despite the fact that the shower of bullets was falling, a few targets were eliminated. Nonetheless, most of them were fortunate enough to escape. Our pursuit continued, and it eventually led us to another hill where there were indications that a large herd of pigs was hidden underground. At this point, we decided to employ an ambush strategy. The order to fire was delivered by the commander as soon as the first pigs came into view, bringing each target to a close. It has arrived. Or did it believe that it could get away? An error was made in it. In order to change our strategy, we concentrated on particular targets. When a wild boar is shot down instantly, it is possible that the other wild boars will not have enough time to recognize the danger and will therefore not immediately flee. This enables us to come closer to and take down a greater number of targets. Due to the fact that the pigs collapsed immediately, the remaining pigs frantically attempted to flee. As a result of the fierce combat, the entire gang was worn out, but before we could take a break, we came upon another herd of pigs. Behold, there are a lot of pigs in this herd. As we were in a position of hiding, we continued to fire our weapons since we could not afford to miss such a wonderful opportunity. We were running out of time, and as we were following the mountainside back to the rest stop, we noticed a couple of enormous dark figures in our line of sight. We were not going to let such a wonderful opportunity pass us by. Once more, the thunderous sound of gunfire echoed through the forest, each shot reverberating like a final note in the symphony of the hunt. With every pull of the trigger came a sense of finality, each bullet finding its mark with brutal precision. Strangely enough, as the intensity of the moment surged, we seemed to be infused with a fresh wave of energy. Despite the exhaustion clinging to our limbs, adrenaline coursed through our veins, and with that renewed vigor, we pressed forward with unwavering determination, wiping out the majority of the wild pigs that had eluded us earlier. With no time to spare, we repositioned our team with practiced efficiency. The formation came together like clockwork, each member falling into place as we opened fire once again. The coordinated assault left no room for error. We cleared the remaining targets, ensuring that none would slip through the cracks. It was the culmination of a day-long pursuit, and it felt like the forest itself held its breath in that final moment of silence after the last shot rang out. Even then, a few stragglers remained, those clever enough to have hidden in thick underbrush or found refuge behind clusters of trees. We combed through the area methodically, eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of movement. Some of the pigs had burrowed into low hollows, attempting to evade us until nightfall, but time was not on their side. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light across the landscape, we finally made our way back. Our equipment was heavy with dirt and sweat, and our boots dragged slightly with fatigue, but our spirits were lifted by the weight of our success. The loot, evidence of a hard-fought battle, was hauled back with pride. Back in the village, the mood had shifted entirely. The tension that had lingered for weeks now melted away, replaced by visible relief. When the residents learned that the wild boar population had been drastically reduced, many of them exhaled in collective gratitude. The danger to their fields and families had subsided, at least for now. That sigh of relief, the one that echoed softly across the evening air, was perhaps the most satisfying sound of all.